Hospital. Are all of you familiar with what a Health Immune Partnership is? Any of you? Show of hands, does anyone know what a Health Immune Partnership is? Okay, well there's 27 of them across the state, and a long time ago when we sued the tobacco companies, we're part of those tobacco settlement funds. So our work plan focuses on tobacco prevention, obesity prevention, worksite wellness, and substance abuse prevention. So I don't know if any of you know Connie Rue, but she does some of our substance abuse prevention in the office. So her too, she works with us, and Betsy Kelly does some of the obesity work in tobacco like me. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Let's Go program. Is anyone familiar with the Let's Go program? Does anyone have any kids? Grandkids?
Oh, yeah.
Can you raise your hand if you have a child or a grandchild?
Oh,
Okay, so the Let's Go 5210 program, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but typically I'm presenting to children or I'm presenting to child care providers or sometimes teachers. So if I sound really excited and like I want to make you move and stuff, that's because I usually am working with kids and teachers and child care providers that are working with kids. So my first rule of thumb is to stand, stretch, and move whenever you want. So if you feel like you need to stand up and stretch out, please feel free to do so at any time. It's not going to disrupt me. And then I'm probably going to make you stand up and move at some point during the presentation, so be prepared for that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I definitely encourage movement at all times. So the first thing I want to start is by going around and just tell me your name. And if you can tell me your favorite form of physical activity. If you don't have one, that's okay. But I'd like to know what you do to keep yourself active. We'll start up here.
Nathan Gardner. What do I do? Carpet.
Carve wood. Cool. Okay.
Brian Perrin. I don't think I have a favorite. Basketball.
Okay. Cool.
I'm Corey Smith. Mine's skiing.
Cool.
Larry McCarthy, tennis.
Joshua Laboratorio, cut wood.
That's pretty physical. Run, probably walking and golf.
Cool.
Dale Spofford, walking and dance.
Maintenance, that's fun.
Tom Lovejoy, disc golf, softball.
Sherry got that yoga.
Ari Fendento, walking, hiking.
Nice. Start. We'll go back there a little bit.
My name is Tracy, and I have a lot of hobbies.
Great.
Cindy, walking.
It's Dottie in golf and walking.
Renee, walking.
Walking.
Jamie Gunsby,
Dennis, hiking and snowshoeing.
Great. So there's a lot of walkers in here. So I know you guys walk throughout the day, right? Do you take your lunch break to walk? Do you walk during your lunch break? How many of you walk during your lunch break? Cool. That's like one of the best ways to get physical activity throughout the workday. So today's presentation goals, I'd like to provide you with an awareness of the obesity epidemic and its consequences. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about obesity across the United States. An understanding of the Let's Go model and the 5210 program, and you're probably wondering, like, what does this have to do with physical activity nutrition? The Let's Go program is a nutrition and physical activity program. It's aimed towards kids, but we're now sort of spreading it through the workplace as well. We have a workplace toolkit that I'm going to provide the Baker Company so that you'll all have access to those tools at any time. There's a lot of parent handouts if you want to hand those down to your kids or however you want to use those. But we're going to be talking about physical activity and nutrition by using the Let's Go model today. Strategies to identify ways to improve healthy eating and active living at your workplace. And then you all should hopefully have a little bit better knowledge of access to the resources to support your workplace. So you should all leave here with some tools that will support healthy eating and active living in the workplace and help you with that. So these first slides that I'm going to go through, and I'm going to sort of just go through them semi-quickly, but the series of slides we're going to sort of flash through, but you'll see the obesity epidemic over the years. And then, we put these out here because this is sort of what, over the years, has emerged. Our TVs, there's more TVs in the home now. More children are using video games. We're seeing vending machines in schools. Do you have a vending machine here? What's in your vending machine? Are they all healthy foods in your vending machine? No? Okay. So vending machines, pretty much anywhere and everywhere you go. And usually they're full of what? Soda? Right? Okay. And then all of our fast food stores and the Super Size Me, we went from really small portions to large portions. And then the computer time, the time spent on computers. Oh, you'll have to forgive me because this clicker is a little bit sensitive. This will show you your percentages of BMI that's greater than 30. And this is basically the average, basically someone my size. So if your BMI, when they measure your BMI, if it's greater than 30, then you're considered obese. So this does not show overweight, but it shows obese percentages. And then where the white is, there's just no data tracked there yet. So right now you can see that already in 1985, the light blue is 10%, the darker blue is 10 to 14%, and then 15 to 19%. And I'm going to sort of go through these fast, so you'll sort of see the picture. 1988, it's going to go through by itself. It's good. So it's just growing, right? And then we've added 20%, continues. Oh, we've added 25% and 30.
Living large.
And we've added a new. And so now here we are in 2010. So in 2010, no state had a prevalence of obesity less than 20%. That's a lot different from the first slide you saw, right? And 36 states had a prevalence equal to or greater than 25%. And 12 of these states had a prevalence equal to or greater than 30%. So as you can see, the obesity epidemic is affecting all U.S. states. So these slides, this is tracking the exact same thing, but the colors are a little bit different because they started tracking other things as well. So in 2011, the colors are a little bit different, but they're similar to the last slide. And then this is the most recent data that we have tracking obesity. So you can see that it's clearly an epidemic, right? So that's sort of painted a picture for you. And so the child's face of obesity. 9.7% of infants and toddlers younger than 2 years classify with obesity. More than 1 of every 4 children ages 2 to 5 years are overweight, and 28.4% of Maine kindergarten students are overweight or obese. And one statistic that I've heard recently is that the generation now, our kids right now, will not live as long as we will because of this, because of the obesity epidemic, because of what they're eating. That's harsh. I'm a 4-year-old. So to me, that's a huge, that hits me. So how did we get here? I'm gonna just pull all these up. So what are we putting into our bodies? Low cost, high calorie foods, right, are increased portions. Once upon a time, the decorative design around the plate was there for decoration. So it wasn't there to heap our food on the plate, right? It was there actually for decoration. So now, and I have my family on Thanksgiving, we heap those plates. So, the portions are certainly much higher than they used to be. Poor access to healthy food. 80% of our food is being shipped in. So we're not eating as locally as we used to. or a lot of people don't have access to those local healthy foods. Some people don't even have access to the grocery store. Soda and other high sugary beverage consumption, so a lot of people drink their calories and they don't even know it. And then increased dining out. Several years ago, 1 meal of every 10 was eaten out, and now it's 1 meal of every 3 in a family is eaten out. Those are the statistics now. And then the energy that we're putting out, we and our children, so this is, again, the Let's Go program is really geared towards children, and I work specifically with children, but it's the same for adults. We're seeing the same thing for adults, especially my generation. There's more TV and more screen time. Families are reporting that their children have TVs in their bedrooms. Parents have TVs in their bedrooms. That is an indicator of why a family or children could be overweight or obese. Physical activity and recess cuts in the school, we're seeing those across the board. Changing the built environment, and lack of access to parks and green spaces. So we're losing some of our green spaces. Maybe the bus doesn't bus kids anymore at a certain time because we see lots of cuts in schools. So that's happening as well. What's the big deal? What's the problem? Why is it a big deal? Does anyone know? Why is obesity a big deal? We and our kids are experiencing anxiety, asthma, depression, diabetes, heart disease, joint problems, liver disease, poor academics in school for kids specifically, poor sleep, and stress. So, carrying excess weight can cause stress, can cause depression. We're experiencing that, and so are our children. Oh, thyroid disease. Not to mention the economic impact, the healthcare impact, and the national security. We spend billions in healthcare costs, especially in the workplace, lost productivity. If you're not healthy, you're not as productive. Sometimes you call out sick because you're more apt to get sick. So especially in the workplace, that's where we're seeing some issues. And so Let's Go. The Let's Go model is based on the 5210 message, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But Let's Go is being implemented in 6 sectors across the state of Maine, and these are the six sectors that they're being implemented in: early childhood, schools, community, workplace, after school, and healthcare. Let's Go is really focusing on a multi-sector approach so that if kids are getting the message in early childhood setting, so when they're with their child care provider or at home, they're getting the message of why it's important to eat healthy and stay physically active, and then they're going to schools and they're getting that same message. They're going into their after-school program, they're getting that same message. Maybe when they go to their YMCA, they're getting the same message out in the community. And then at work, mom and dad are getting the same message, or grandma and grandpa are getting the same message, and they're sending that when they get home. And then their provider also, their pediatrician is sending the exact same message. And that way it's sticking with our kids. So the core principles of Let's Go are healthy places support healthy choices. Consistent messaging across sectors is essential, sending that consistent message. And strategies are based on science and recommended by the medical community. Let's Go is based on this 5210 message. 5 or more, it's really simple. So 5 or more fruits and vegetables every day. Limit your screen time, your recreational screen time. So that doesn't include like the homework done or you're working on your computer, but the recreational screen time is really like when you're home watching TV, or maybe you're playing a game on your iPad, or you're playing games on your phone. That's sort of the recreational screen time. And then implementing 1 or more hours of physical activity every day. I know that can be really hard, so we're going to talk about ways that we can be physically active at the workplace, simple ways that we can be physically active at the workplace to get that 1 hour. And then zero sugary drinks. Let's Go promotes more water and more low-fat milk. That's pretty easy, right? It's pretty simple. It's amazing, kids like know this message. So I'll be at a health fair and the kids will come up and say, oh, I know what that message is, can I tell you what it is, can I tell you what it is? So it's really, it's starting to instill, and we're hoping that they will just carry that through. So let's go in the workplace. We're gonna talk a little bit about how you can bring Let's Go, or that message, or just physical activity and healthy eating to the workplace. So what you can do to start Let's Go in the workplace today, I'm going to be getting you a toolkit so that you'll have access to a toolkit, the Let's Go toolkit, and you can simply put different messages in your newsletters and send them out to employees with different ways that they can be physically active or different ways they can eat healthy. I know that we had, how many of you were in the organic gardening session? Yeah, Kim came and did the organic gardening. She also, she works at Wolf Pine Farm, and they have a community farm share program, and maybe being able to spread that across the workplace so that you all know about that community farm share program and how you can access local food. We're going to talk a little bit about having healthy meetings and healthy occasions. Having active meetings, we're going to stand and stretch. We are going to do a little bit of physical activity together. And then the sit for 60, move for 30. So that's another sort of rule of thumb. In your toolkit, you're going to have access to these posters. But the sit for 60, move for 30. So if you're sitting, how many of you sit at a desk every day? So 50% of you sit all day long at a desk. So the rule is, if you're sitting for an hour, make sure that you get up and at least go for a brisk walk for 3 minutes or 30 minutes. That would be perfect world, right? Go for a brisk walk for 3 minutes, or just get up and stretch for 3 minutes. Make sure that you're on, you're stretching out those legs for 3 minutes and maybe getting your blood flowing through your body again. I know that typically during the day, when I can, and it's not as often as I'd like, but I try to get out and do a 15-minute walk, during my lunch break. And it's amazing how much more productive I am in the afternoon if I do that. Has anyone else experienced that? They just get out and go for a walk, how much more productive you are. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about lead movement breaks, and I'm hoping that maybe some of you in the room would want to champion those here at some point. You could lead a movement break and get everyone up and moving and sort of be a champion. We're going to talk about anywhere exercises, and then some healthy tips for dining out. So some tools really that you can take home and that you can forever have. So I'll start with active meetings. I'll pass these around. And these are yours to keep, so use them however you like. Here, I'll pass you guys, and then just take one and pass them down. Great. So how often do you have a meeting where you get together and meet? One or two of you in the room have to get together and meet about something. Does it happen very often?
No.
You have meetings, right? No. So this is sort of just quick tips and sort of guidelines for meeting, but sometimes what we'll do in my office is I'll say, okay, Connie, we've got to meet about something, let's go for a walk. Or having these in your meetings, and during the meetings you make sure that halfway through, okay, everyone, we're going to stand up and stretch. We're going to be a little bit more effective, we're going to stand up, we're going to take a nice deep breath. And then we're going to get down and get back to work. Sort of, does anyone have an example of how maybe if they could make a meeting a little bit more active? Okay, so we're going to do an example.
I think you could use a whiteboard, let people draw things.
And let them draw things? Okay.
That's what we do in
back them out.
engineering. Draw pretty pictures.
Okay, so let's do an example. Everyone stand up for me. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But let's stand up. You didn't. I always make everyone move in my workshop. So if you don't want to move, tell them not to ever invite me back. So we're just going to take a nice deep breath up. Take a nice deep breath back down. One more up. One more down. Okay, we're gonna shake out our shoulders. I tell the kids, like, shake out your sillies, shake them out. Shake out your arm. Shake out those fingers. Shake out that arm. And you could be like talking. You could be talking about what you need to do. Like, we're going to talk about how we can make this meeting a little bit more active while we're shaking out our arms. Shake out our fingers. Shake out our fingers. Okay, we're going to shake out our leg. We're almost done, I promise. Shake out that leg. Shake out those toes. Shake them out. The kids, we say, shake out your sillies. Shake out those sillies. Last time, other leg. Shake them out. All right, last nice deep breath up. Back down. Okay, we can sit back down. Okay, so how many of you feel like, oh, okay, that was kind of good? Raise your hand if you feel like, oh, I liked that. That was kind of good. Yeah? I see like, yeah, but no one's shaking their hand. So I assume that it was okay. So that's like a way that you can just incorporate a little bit of activity. It kind of refocuses everyone. If not, it at least made them smile. And so they're like, okay, this is different. This is fun. Okay, let's refocus on what we need to talk about. The other thing is healthy food and beverage guidelines for meetings and different occasions. You can get really specific with this. How many of you host meetings? So you host meetings. And how many of you provide food at your meetings? Food and drink? No. And a lot of people don't right now. A lot of people don't because, you know, there's budget cuts and there isn't really, and that's great. So I think one of the guidelines on here is avoid hosting meetings around lunch so that you don't have to provide food. Because then you don't have to worry about it being healthy. So for beverages, providing even just a pitcher of water to encourage some water consumption. And again, food doesn't need to be provided at every meeting, especially at meetings that are less than an hour. So, you know, if you just get into the habit of not even providing food, then you don't even provide food. But this is just another great tool. I've seen work sites develop their own healthy meeting guidelines so that if they do have people who are hosting meetings, they can hand that out and say, you know, we're a really healthy work site. It's important to us to keep our employees healthy. Here is a guideline to what you can provide for food at your meetings. And that doesn't mean that, you know, we're the food police and we're taking away all the yummy food, but we're just saying it's important to us that you stay healthy because you're our employees, you're our coworkers, and we want to make sure that we're providing healthy options. What you go home and eat is entirely up to you. We're going to go on to providing resources for your employees or your coworkers around healthy lunches. So this handout specifically for healthy brown bag lunches, it says. So I noticed that a lot of you brought your lunch. So it seems like that's probably what a lot of you bring your lunch rather than order out lunch from anywhere. I'm probably giving you too many to pass along in there, or maybe not enough. But this will give you sort of a snapshot example of what you could bring Monday through Friday in your healthy brown bag lunches. How many of you feel like you eat pretty healthy on a regular basis? That's awesome. So lot of you do. I feel like I do too, but I always feel like I could be a little bit more healthier. So it's always great to get new ideas. And then it also gives you an example of a shopping list on the back, so things that you may not think of. I know that I am participating in the community farm share program, the winter farm share program that Kim talked about last time she was here. And I went to pick up my farm share yesterday, and I had 1.5 pound of leeks. What do you do with those? What do you do with that 1.5 pounds of leeks? I mean, I can do a little bit with like 1/2 pound, but I'm like, whoa. So always getting those. It's always good for me to get ideas what I can do with those. So the other handout that I have for you is top 5 anywhere exercises. So I encourage you to put this, if you're in a cubicle or if you're in an office setting, I encourage you to kind of stick this to the wall so it will remind you that these are exercises that I can do anywhere. Make sure you warn the person next to you because if you're doing like squats and jumping jacks in your QB, they might wonder. I have to warn everyone in my office because I do this stuff. But these are kneeling push-ups, planks. Does everyone know how to do a plank? That's a really great full body workout. That's really going to get your blood flowing throughout your body, and it's something that you can do. You can do simple for 1 minute, and it's really effective. What about squats? Does everyone know what a squat is? Yeah, so that too is another really great exercise to sort of get you going. Jumping jacks is really great. That'll really get your heart rate up. And then just running in place. So I have 2 handouts left. The last one that I have is healthy tips for dining out. And then we're going to finish with a movement break. And then if you guys have any questions. So healthy tips for dining out. How many of you dine out on a weekly basis? Go out to eat every week. Raise your hand, please. Every week. Okay, every month? Okay, so we all pretty much go out. Do you advocate for a healthier meal when you're out, or is it sort of like I'm going to indulge because I go out? You guys are too quiet for me.
It might be burger 5 guys helps with me.
Okay. Anyone else? When you go out, do you advocate for a healthier meal? So just some of the recommendations that we have, there's a lot on there, but already splitting your meal in half and making sure that you just eat half that meal, because the portions when we dine out now are outrageous. They're way more than we need. And if you visit, after the letsgo.org is on the bottom of all of these slides, but I'm going to go through a couple of the resources at the end of this. And if you visit the Let's Go website, or if you visit myplate.org, there's a lot of great resources for dining out and for having portion control. But when we're dining out, we're certainly eating more than we need to be if we're eating that whole meal. Healthy employees are happy employees. Typically, there's a lot of sayings like you are what you eat, and I don't always agree with all of those, but I certainly know that in talking with people, healthier people are usually happier people, and a lot of studies show that that healthier employees are happy employees. And not only do you feel healthier, but the employee morale. If you offer these movement breaks or some of the active meetings, it can really raise the employee morale, which can also increase your productivity. Letsgo.org, this is a great tool if any of you are online and are interested in downloading some other resources. And then Let's Go also has a Facebook page. Not that I'm encouraging you to be on Facebook and using your 2 hours of screen time, but we have a Facebook page. And then the last thing I want to do is the last movement. I'm going to leave you with a movement break. again is another, there's a lot of different movement breaks in here, but if there was a champion at your site that really wanted to sort of lead these movement breaks, sort of like what I'm doing with all of you, then this would be a great tool. Do you guys have any questions first?
Yeah, I think so.
So, does everyone know what a triathlon is? Has anyone ever done a triathlon? No? Me either. Me either. It's on my bucket list, but we're gonna do one. We're gonna do a quick one. So we're all gonna stand up. Before I send you off back to work, we're all gonna stand up and we're gonna do about a 3-minute triathlon. Make sure you have enough room. We can sort of stand around the room. That would probably be the best. You might want to get out from behind here. Make sure you have enough room. I'm being recorded up here, my triathlon recording. So the first part of a triathlon is swimming. And then typically you go into the transition station and you get on your bicycle and then you go out and you bike. Depending upon whether you're doing a sprint or Olympic, the distances vary. But you get up, you run into your transition after you're done swimming, you hop on your bike, you bike out, and then you bike back in and you head out to run. So we're gonna do like a mini triathlon. Okay? Are we good? You guys are like, okay. All right, so we're gonna start by swimming. So we're gonna swim. And I know this seems really crazy, but you can have fun with this at work. Right?
Flu shots, my arms.
I know. I'm sorry. At least you don't get the flu, right? Okay, so we're swimming. Bring those arms up. You can do back if you need to because we're getting tired. In that water, especially in the ocean, I'd be running from sharks. Okay. All right, we're done our swim leg. Okay, so we've got to run into our transition. Run into your transition. We're running into our transition. Okay. Run. Hop on your bike. Hop on, get your gear on. Get your gear on, whatever you need to get on. Come on, you guys. Have fun with it. Okay, we're going to bike. We're biking. I know, I have a huge bike. I have this huge range, okay? All of our heart rates should be up after this, so come on. Work with me. We're biking. You know, we've gone like 13 miles. All right, we have to hop off our bike and we have to run it back into transition. We have to run our bike back in because we have like that point where we have to hop off. So we're running back into transition with our bike. Okay, mount our bike in transition. Okay, we're gonna run out. Now we're running. We've got like a 10K to do. Does anyone know what distance that is?
6.2 miles.
Okay, 6.2 miles to go. Here we go. And this is when like your body is like, right? Okay, we're coming in. Oh, we're coming in. We're coming in for finish. Coming in. Woo! We're done. Phew. How many of you have a heart rate up right now? Yeah? So that was like 3 minutes. And that was getting to our 1 hour physical activity. Incorporating that 3 minutes, you know, is 3 minutes towards that 1 hour physical activity we need every day. So how many of you have like 3-minute breaks once in a while? That you could do something like that? No, you're not going to stand up in front of everyone and be like, okay, I'm doing a triathlon. But how many of you could probably incorporate something into your workday? Everyone, right? Do you all feel a little bit more inspired to do so?
Oh, yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, well, do you guys have any questions? No? Thank you. Thanks for